In a world obsessed with attention, with constant talking, arguing, posting, proving, the real power lies in restraint, in mystery, in presence. Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher who challenged morality, truth, and the very structure of society, understood something few ever grasp, that you don't need to dominate a conversation to dominate the room. You don't need to speak to win. You only need to know yourself so deeply that silence becomes your sword, and stillness your shield. This is not about arrogance. It's about mastery. Mastery of your reactions, your energy, your need to be seen. In this video, we'll explore how to outsmart anyone. Not with arguments, not with charm, but through quiet confidence, mental discipline, and the unshakable presence Nietzsche embodied. This is the path of the one who transcends the noise, the one who doesn't speak, but is still heard. Let's begin. Words are cheap. Presence is expensive. You don't need to raise your voice to raise your influence. People feel when someone knows who they are. No performance, no overcompensating, just quiet certainty. Nietzsche believed in becoming what he called the Übermensch, a higher individual who doesn't seek validation from the crowd. This person doesn't talk to impress. They move with intention. They observe more than they speak. They listen deeply. Not because they're submissive, but because they're focused. Because their mind is not on approval, but on awareness. Want to outsmart someone without saying a word? Walk into a room like nothing there can shake you. Hold eye contact without needing to dominate. Don't fidget. Don't over-explain. Don't rush. When you're anchored in yourself, other people feel it. Because silence backed by strength is louder than any argument. One of the most powerful ways to outsmart anyone is to show them they have no power over you. No word, insult, or opinion can shake someone who's detached. Nietzsche taught that strength isn't about domination, it's about indifference to the trivial. Most people are trapped in reactivity. They argue, they defend, they explain, because they need to be understood. They need to be liked. But detachment? It says, you can misunderstand me, and I will still sleep well tonight. Detachment isn't coldness, it's clarity. It's choosing not to spend your energy where it won't grow. It's knowing your value, so you don't need to prove it. In a confrontation, the person who stays calm always holds the advantage. Because silence creates tension, it makes others uncomfortable. And in that discomfort, they reveal themselves. You don't even need to speak. So the next time someone pushes your buttons, do nothing. Let them talk. Let them project. Let them try. And watch how your calm dismantles their chaos. Before we continue, please take a moment to like this video. Your support helps more people discover these ideas. And if you're enjoying this journey into the mysteries of the mind, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Now, back to the video. Most people rush to fill silence. They talk to avoid discomfort, to avoid being misunderstood. But those who understand silence, who can wield it, become impossible to read and even harder to control. Nietzsche didn't just question the world. He became a question. His words were cryptic, layered, unpredictable. Why? Because mystery is more powerful than certainty. When you're silent, people start to wonder, what are you thinking? Why aren't you reacting? Do you know something they don't? This is the mind's natural response to an unknown. It tries to fill the gap, and that's your strategic advantage. The less you reveal, the more others project. They reveal their insecurities, assumptions, and agendas, all while you remain composed, watching. Outsmarting people doesn't mean proving you're right. It means creating space where their own overconfidence unravels them, not by shouting the truth, but by being the quiet presence that exposes their noise. Become the question. Let them scramble for answers that don't exist. Because the more they speak, the more you know. And the less you speak, the more they fear what you know. The loudest person in the room is rarely the smartest, because true intelligence doesn't need applause, it needs depth. And Nietzsche believed that depth comes from solitude, introspection, and radical self-honesty. While the world chases validation, the wise build inner empires. They study, they reflect, they question their own beliefs before questioning others. They don't perform intelligence, they become it. This is where you gain your silent power, not by rehearsing clever lines, but by sharpening your mind when no one is watching. Not by memorizing arguments, but by learning how to think clearly, independently, dangerously. Most people are shaped by trends. They repeat what they've heard. They seek to belong, even at the cost of their identity. But if you build an inner world rich with your own thoughts, your own philosophies, your own standards, you become untouchable. Because someone who thinks for themselves is already 10 steps ahead. They're not playing the same game. So while others speak to be noticed, you stay silent and observe everything. And when you finally do speak, every word will land with the weight of thought, not noise. Silence isn't weakness, but knowing when to speak and when not to is a form of intellectual dominance. Nietzsche wasn't silent because he lacked words. He was silent because most conversations aren't worth entering. Most people aren't ready to hear the truth, especially if it disrupts their comfort. So what do? You wait. You speak rarely. But when you do, you speak with clarity, with precision, with weight. You never argue for the sake of ego. You never explain yourself to be liked, because the person who explains less is often the one in control. Outsmarting someone isn't about verbal gymnastics. It's about knowing that silence protects your mind, while speaking too soon gives away your position. Nietzsche's wisdom is this: speak only when your words are more powerful than your silence. Until then, let others talk. Let them reveal. Let them chase noise. You remain still, grounded, aware. Because in a world obsessed with talking, the one who knows when to speak and when to stay silent is always the one who wins. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone. You don't need to win every debate, correct every lie, or match every insult with a sharper one. True intelligence knows when to stay quiet. True strength knows when to walk away. True power doesn't come from being heard. It comes from not needing to be. Nietzsche lived in a world that misunderstood him, and he didn't care. Because he wasn't trying to impress the crowd, he was trying to rise above it. So the next time you're tempted to explain, defend, or impress, pause, look inside. Ask yourself, is this silence stronger than any answer I could give? If it is, you've already won. If you felt the weight of these words, subscribe for more videos that sharpen your mind and calm your spirit. Let me know in the comments, when has silence been your greatest power? And remember, you don't need to say a word to be unforgettable. Not when your presence says everything. See you in the next video.